Hey everybody, welcome to Level 3 Focus. My name is Ultra David. Thanks for joining us. I hope you just enjoyed the first attack that we had for the day. I'm also feeling a little bit tired. We had a really whirlwind trip over to Austin for the weekend, of course, for the Street Fighter 25th anniversary tournament. The first one, it's a series, and this was the first one. We flew out there Friday night after work, tournament in Saturday morning, hang out Saturday night, tournament Sunday morning, fly out of there Sunday night. It was less than a 24-hour trip. It was ridiculous. Definitely still tired, but it was awesome. Just there's still some residual results, as you can probably tell. Anyway, so today I actually want to keep talking about Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition version 2012. We jump around a lot to lots of different games, and that was actually my intention earlier today. I really wanted to talk about the new Street Fighter Cross Tekken patch, but then I just didn't have enough time to actually look into what it had. I really wanted to talk about it, but just, would not have had enough to say. So instead, I really want to talk about Street Fighter 4 AE 2012, because I think that it's the most balanced Street Fighter game of all time. I'm not going to claim that it's the most balanced fighting game of all time. I just don't know other games well enough. I don't know Tekken's well enough. I don't know Virtua Fighters well enough. I don't know Guilty Gears well enough, and Blaze Blues and all that other stuff. I have ideas, but mostly they're what's told to me. As far as Street Fighter goes, I know the series pretty well. Pretty well. And in my opinion, this is the most balanced game. I think that the most important parts to look at when it comes to balance are how well the lower tier characters deal with the top tiers. I think that's the biggest thing. There are plenty of games that have pretty reasonable balance when it comes to the top, some set of characters. Even Marvel 2, if you just look at the top half dozen characters, it's a pretty good game for that. But when it comes to looking at the lower tiers, oftentimes that's where things start to fall apart. So if you look at Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, if you just look at it as an 8-character game, it's actually pretty good. There are not that many blow-ups, and it's not the case necessarily that the higher tier beats the lower tier within that 8-character set. But if you then keep going down until you reach, Sean, 12, even, Q a little bit above that, really kind of breaks down. I frankly think that the same is true for Super Turbo, although I think it's a pretty balanced game. I do think that it has issues. I think that Alpha 2, Alpha 3 have issues. I think that this is the most balanced of the Street Fighter 4 series. Some people disagree with that. They say that Super is the most balanced. And their reasoning is that they think that the top 5, the top 10 were extremely well balanced. And I think that that's totally the case. But that game had a definite bottom tier. There were characters in that game who were just not that good. Dan and Goken and well, I don't know. There were actually quite a few DJ that had significant problems. Makoto. Not the case in this game. And so what I want to do today is go through a list of half a dozen-ish or so characters that people often point to as being the worst in the game, and then kind of identify the weaknesses that people tend to bring up, and then show some match videos of people either displaying that actually the truth is the opposite, that those aren't problems, or that they can make up for those problems by using the character's strengths in other ways. So let's go over to the actual Xbox, if possible. Thank you very much. Absolutely no surprise, I do want to start with Dan. I've been a champion of Dan for a little while now, and people still think that he's low tier. And actually, maybe he is low tier. I'm not sure whether he's not low tier. But I do want to go into him and explain that even if he is low tier, regardless, he's a good character and he can compete. He has a lot of good stuff going for him. And like I said, I want to start out by showing what I think are his issues that people... Oh, you still have it on this? That people tend to identify. Really has a couple big issues. One is in about this range. It doesn't really have the best buttons. This one's good. Stand medium kick is good. It doesn't really lead to damage, but his crouching medium kick is slower than the other Shoto's crouching medium kicks. It doesn't really have quite as long a range as you might expect it to have, as you can see. Yeah, it's just not that great. So he doesn't really have the best footsies. People also somehow don't think that his offense is that great. I think people tend to respect the Dan kick because it's a focus breaker and is more or less safe on block. But I don't know. People tend to think, oh well, if you're Dan, your punish is bump bop bop. Not really. Your punish is more like that. That's 2 bars. You can. Let's see. Come on, hands. Well, whatever. The point is that you get 400 damage and 700 stun with this character if you have execution. That's big if in my case, but the point is that he actually does have damaging combos. So I'm oftentimes not really sure what people identify to bring up as a problem for Dan, but I think certainly the biggest one is his lack of good mid-range tools. That's lately become a little bit less of an issue for Dan, as people have started to use not quite instant air Dan kick, but fast air Dan kick, which is not quite, as you can see, it's not quite at the bottom of the ground, but it's a little bit higher up, and that allows you to get through very annoying pokes like this and this, and even in some cases this, it'll beat that. So it's a way to address some of the issues that he has. I've picked a couple of Dan matches from a couple of Dans who I like watching. The first one is jchensor, who's a Swedish player who I think has a pretty smart Dan style. I've actually picked him up against an Adon. Would you mind going over to the jchensor Adon match?
Let's see here. Jchensor Adon, you said?
Yeah, please.
Dan. Oh, here.
Yeah, Edelman.
Alright guys, again, let us know if the game volume is a little too loud or anything like that. So
yeah, please let us know if there's something that we should change about this. This is a new system that Mr. James Chen just tested just before we got on the air for Level 3 Focus. So please let us know if there's any issue. So this is a match that I picked because it's rough for Dan in that he doesn't have, like I said, a great mid-range game. So what does Dan do against an Adon who has an amazing stand roundhouse and the ability to get through projectiles and a fast dragon punch well, I shouldn't say a fast dragon punch, but a dragon punch to deal with Dan kick pressure. Okay, so basic Dan series of guess Dan knees or not into throw, very very basic stuff. There you see one of his good mid-range tools. It's the EX Dan kick. It's very fast. It's safe on block. It's a good one. It's very useful. You see him bring it out a lot. In fact, Dans will often just use their meter more or less on that. But he is getting pressured again, right there. Now he's in the corner. I think coming up. Yeah. Okay. Actually, if you mind stopping it and going back just a little bit to this corner series. So go. Yeah. All right. So stop. It's fine. But you can, if you saw, there was a crouching medium kick in there. Dan's crouching medium kick is amazing. It gets him lower than Ryu. It gets him down to the ground, and he really doesn't have a hittable hitbox above him until you get almost like to where his ear is. Even his hand is like not really hittable. So he has this tool that can help him get under 8 on Dragon Punch. In fact, I've tested this against 8 on Dragon Punch. You can just sit there and do crouching medium kick, not from point blank, but from a little far away, and just harass him. So you have a really strong tool that is useful not just in meaties, but also in some pressure series. So okay, go on. It's a nice way to get around things that people are not often associating with Dan as being a strength. So all right, taking damage. By the way, I tried not to pick videos that showed like unrealistic domination, so these are mostly going to be close. There you see another one from Dan. He actually does have a pretty solid Dragon Punch to deal with pressure. He's got pretty solid range on it. It's got pretty good. You can pause. It's got pretty good. It's not invincibility on the regular ones, but it's got a great hitbox on it. The EX one is actually a really strong wake up Dragon Punch. Only a few wake up Dragon Punch, or only a few EX Dragon Punches will beat it in the game, like Seth EX Dragon Punch, Ken EX Dragon Punch. I think Oni. There's like only a few. Other than that, it's really, really solid and will either whiff through things, in which case he actually recovers a little bit faster than some other characters do from their EX Dragon Punches, and he can punish, or he's mostly just kind of safe, and you know, it's not that big a deal. So, okay, go back. So, okay, he's at this mid-range game where you would think that Adon does really well, and he is. You know, with those kicks and with stand roundhouse, it's annoying for Dan. So Dan is really trying to just not be in that range, and that's actually something that he can do. You see, Ixion knows he does not want to try to get past that range unless he really finds the moment. There it is. And again, the EX Dan kick, getting him in, getting past that range into a range he's more comfortable with. Trying to take up space a lot. And you know, one thing that I like about Ixion is that he's not a crazy Dragon Punch monster. Again, that crouching medium kick, so sick. Right back into the corner. He's got some great corner business. There you see actually here, pause. So what happened there is he whiffed a stand short, and then James was just talking about, you know, whiffing normals for timings. If you whiff a close stand short as Dan, as the opponent is grounded in the corner like that, and then do a fast air Dan kick, again, not instant air, but fast air Dan kick, that actually will just beat lots of Wake Up Dragon Punches, including Adon Wake Up Dragon Punch. Not trade, like, it wins. That's the case in a lot of important matchups like Sagat. He just has to block because you have an anti-Dragon Punch move that he just has to deal with. Okay, so go back. So you know, it's good pressure in the corner. He's done a good job of not being at the ranges that frustrate Dan, and that's it. Good stuff, Ixion. Solid play. So okay, he's found a couple of good ways to deal with Dan's potential problems, right? He's found EX Dan kick. Again, very fast move. It's like just 7 or 8 frames of startup, and it travels pretty far. It's a focus breaker, so you can't just be your opponent can't be focusing really against Dan. In fact, James does not focus at all, right? Like you like focusing. You don't focus against Dan, do you? No. It's not something that's really useful. So for characters who like using their focus, that can be rough. And you know, he has a couple more ways to get in. Obviously, medium kick and roundhouse Danku are a little, you know, they're not as good as EX because they're slower, but you know, they have more solid hitboxes. They catch backdashers a little more strongly. And if you're doing, you know, the medium kick or the roundhouse, I mean, they look identical, and the responses to them afterwards are a little bit different, especially in the case of charge characters. So, you know, you have kind of a mix-up on the way in. As far as his defense goes, you know, he's got a pretty solid set of Dragon Punches. He's got normals that people don't even know about, like stand roundhouse, which has an awesome anti-air hitbox, or stand medium kick, which actually has a great anti-air hitbox too. So like I said, I'm not really sure why people sleep on Dan, other than the fact that his name is Dan. I mean, I know that that's a big part of it, that people have come to know Dan as being a joke character, and that they just don't think that he is real because he's Dan and he's always a joke. And maybe that was the case in the earlier Street Fighter 4s. Maybe they intended him to be a joke, but they actually buffed him in some, you know, really nice ways. Like, that's a Link for some reason. And obviously you get a lot of good stuff off this. This is something you can combo into this. It's something that, you know, you can combo into that. Like, he has a lot of really strong punishes, and the great thing is that his hit confirms, which are this and this, are also frame traps, and they also lead into his most damaging combos. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not really sure what to say else about Dan. I guess let's go over to the other one that I have, which is Dan. Kubobu Dan, who is actually Christo, who is one of the strongest Rufus players in Japan, who recently, or at some point, picked up Dan. Kind of a mess around character, I think, but he actually plays him pretty well. Here you see him against Zangief, and I picked this one because this is a match that, like, you would think really shows the disparity between footsie normals in the two characters, and people often think, oh man, this must be a ruination for Dan because how is he going to compete against Zangief normals? And it's true. If you go into training mode and just like blindly test stand medium punch for Zangief against any of Dan's normals, it's not going to work out for him. But he can stand at smart ranges, and he can also do this. All right, so pause. nobody knows about this for some reason, but Dan's knee, the fast air knee, it'll beat Lariat. You can actually block in time to if Zangief does wake up EX hand. If Zangief does a backdash, depending on how you timed it exactly, you'll either catch his backdash or recover in time to jump away or dragon punch him or whatever that you want to stay safe with. So he actually gets free meaties on Zangief, and Kubobu doesn't do it here, but you see. Oh, let's see if I can get this. Doesn't really work that well on Honda, but yeah. So that's actually a cross up. That's something that you can do on Gief really well. It works on characters like Adon really well, Sagat really well. Big body characters, it works really well. And that works as a meaty on Zangief 2. Again, same situation, beats Lariat, crosses him up, or doesn't cross him up depending on the timing. If it's the cross-up version, EX hand will just whiff through you. So he can meaty Zangief. And you just saw that 3 times in a row. The Gief player was trying to figure out what to do about it and didn't get it. So, go back. That was a nice round, right? I mean, he didn't try to get involved too often in directly challenging Zangief normals. He picks this spot that's like just outside of stand medium punch from Zangief, where he's pressing, stand jab, stand strong, stand medium kick, and just throwing a lot of fireballs and kind of daring Gief to do that, because it's not that big a deal, frankly. From that range where he was standing, to get hit by EX hand, not really that big a deal. I mean, you're not going to get knocked down. He doesn't really have good options after that if you're doing it at that range. So he's just kind of harassing Gief with this and hoping that Gief jumps in, because he's going to get dragon punched more often than not. Again, Gief does not have good options at that range. So yeah, it's just competent zoning from there on out. He's making use of this character that people think does not have the ability to control the mid-range space, but he does. It just depends on on where you stand, of course, on the individual matchup, all that kind of stuff. If he needs to get in, he can do a delayed air Dan kick like this, which again, same properties as the fast air Dan kick, beats Lariat, etc. It's safe on block, yada yada. Pretty solid stuff. Yeah. So again, I don't really know why people sleep on Dan, and I always convince good players to pick up Dan. Man, I've been on Combo Fiend to pick up Dan because I feel like this is his character. I really do feel like this is his character. But for some reason, he's just, I don't know, doesn't want to do it. So, hopefully that'll happen at some point. Yep, that comboed. Let's take a quick break. When I come back, I want to talk about a bunch more characters in Street Fighter 4 who people identify as being lower tier, but who in actuality can totally compete with a lot of the cast. Hey, welcome back to Level 3 Focus. Today we're talking about characters in Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition version 2012 who people tend to sleep on, but who actually are not bad. I asked the chat during James's show who they thought were the bottom 5 characters, and got a lot of different responses. So throughout the show, I'm going to bring out characters who I don't necessarily think are bottom 5 or low tier, or however you want to define the characters who you don't think are that great. But they tend to get a rep for being low tier. So I'm not sure that DJ is low tier. I'm not sure Dan is low tier. That's going to be the same for a lot of these other characters that I'm going to show. But I just want to show them because they have that reputation, and I would like to dispel any feelings that these characters are not useful. So up next, as you can see, is DJ. I just am doing random select for the other character, happen to come up with Gouken. I definitely don't think that Gouken is bottom 5, and I really hope that nobody else thinks that either at this point. Let me know if that's not the case. He actually wasn't mentioned when I asked the chat. So DJ, what's the problem with DJ? DJ has a few problems in people's minds. One is, again, like Dan, he doesn't really have great buttons at the mid-range. And for a character who, at first blush, feels like he should be played, defensively and max out and jumping back, almost like Guile, his moveset kind of lends or makes you think that he's sort of a Guile character. Not having great moves in the mid-range is not awesome. It can be a hindrance if you're going to play him like that. And that is how people played him for a long time. Not you know, obviously in some matchups that is still how he's played, and I think that's actually what I'm going to show is him versus a Honda. So he is going to play a defensive game, but you know, obviously his you know his vortex is very important. He can play offense. He has the ability to do nice links up close. He has some solid frame traps actually. He has some really nice traps in the air that will blow up a lot of stuff. That jump fierce has a crazy hitbox on it. This has a really nice hitbox on it if you hit with where his foot is as it comes up. You can juggle out of it. So he has these tools. He has some other good tools too. I mean, good luck trying to cross that up. It auto-corrects really, really well. Basically not an option for most people to try to cross him up. In fact, even safe jumping him is not that easy. The frame data on it is weird. Like it doesn't, I don't think that it says that it's a super, super fast one. Actually, let me check. I'm checking right now. I don't remember which one is which. Oh, it's jackknife maximum, right? That's what this is.
Which one?
The up kicks.
Kick?
Yeah. So it's 4 frames. Yeah. So I mean that's good, but it's totally safe jumpable. But you just don't see it that often because people are worried about running into it. It's such a nice wake up attack. He has the ability to get over some mid range stuff with these, which are not as unsafe as they used to be. So he's definitely got some stuff going for him. So let's go over to the match. Like I said, it's going to be against a Honda player. When I looked for these, I looked mostly on a Black Vegeta X or X Black Vegeta X and Yoga Flame 24 on their YouTube channels. They have a ton of great matches, and they tend to be from pretty high ranked players or from players who are in the arcades mostly and have high level rankings in the arcade. So check out how he's playing here against Honda. He's not just doing the guile, I'm a guile player, I'm just gonna run away and throw sonic booms and do some normals in the mid range. Not really what he's doing. I mean, now he is because he's already there, and there's no reason to approach if you're already in this range. But you saw it at the beginning. Wasn't really what he went to. He had some offense in there. It paid off. Now he's forcing Honda to just come to him. He's got some great, very fast normals up close. Some 3-framers. Playing some defense, waiting out. Like I said, I tried to pick close matches. So this is safe jump timing. Yeah, very nice. Again, he has the ability to play a little bit of offense there. Especially with that. Yeah, with that. I mean, if he jumped at that exact range and it was medium kick rather than down short, it would have been a cross up. So he's got a nice little cross up, not cross up game. In either case, if you're godlike, you can do that combo into ultra, which is not easy, but is very important if you want to play DJ well. So nice first round. Again, backing off to a range where he can, play this farther range. It's not really his ground normals that Honda is worried about. It's more about landing on a max out accidentally or landing on a jump normal that he's more worried about, or a slide. Or I guess, a jump normal, like I said. The DJ player understands what his character's liabilities are. Not that great with normals in the mid-range. He's making Honda come to him, which he can totally do at this spot. Again, that jump fierce, like I said, excellent hitbox on it. And now he's forcing Honda to come to him, and it doesn't look that easy. Alright, so this is punish time. This is so sick. This is partly why I picked this. Godlike! Yeah, reset. And now it's basically it for Honda. He ends up getting thrown rather than landing on a max out or whatever. But as you can see, like I said, up close he's got some good normals. You can totally link out of this into like a lot of different things. He has some damaging combos if you have meter and good execution. In some cases, not even that much meter is necessary. So he's definitely solid.
Everyone keeps saying they want to see it again.
They want to see the combo again? Yeah, sure. Let's show it again. This is fine. Yeah. Oh, good timing actually, James. That was perfect. Ooh. Yeah, end of reset. Boop. Very nice. Cool. Okay, so DJ, in a matchup where he doesn't do badly, I don't want to pretend like he gets blown up by Honda or anything, but as you can see, is not really playing it in the same way as Guile. He's not just doing booms and looking for anti-airs. He's being a lot more active. He had some pressure at the start. He had some pressure at the end. He had, significant damage combos. You have to play him in a different way. And while he does have some, matchups that are not that great, and some characters who are awesome at controlling this space at about this range can be annoying for him. And those characters, those are the ones where he kind of wants to play offense or not even be there. He wants to be throwing on max outs and trapping them with Jump Fierce and Jump Ranos and Slide and stuff, or Sobat if they just want to be walking up. So he's got good stuff. I also wanted to talk about, let's go to t.hawk. Okay, t.hawk. Oh, you want to take a break? Yeah, sure. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to bring up t.hawk. I have a couple of t.hawk matches that I want to show you. One against a Cammy, and then one against a Dhalsim, because they show him playing in pretty different ways. We'll have that when we come back. Hey, alright, welcome back. Let's move on to t.hawk. t.hawk is also one of the most common characters to show up on people's lists of the worst characters. And I guess that sort of makes sense to me. He certainly has some problem matchups. If you're up against a Blanca, it's not going to be good luck. But he definitely has a lot of evenish matches and matchups that I think he does really well in. Again, randomly selected Forte. I'm not putting Forte in the mix here. Not yet. So what are t.hawk's problems? Well, his walk speed is not that great. His dash is kind of ass. He doesn't really have good approaches. This is not really an approach. When we first saw the move, I remember before Super came out, we were like, oh, this must be an approach, but it's actually not. You can be focused, and you can definitely be punished on whiff, so that's not really that great. How about wow. Oh, right, now jumping back. That's not safe, right? Especially, if Forte knows what's up, he can get an Ultra on that. He can get, a Q-Bomb on that. He can probably even dash up. I guess, I'm not sure, I've never seen this, but maybe he can, even run up and then do Fierce Run Stop Fierce? I don't know. But the point is that he can definitely get punished on that. It's not that great. Even the addition of the EX is, helpful, not awesome. There is a range. Let's see if I can find it. No. Well, there's a range where if you hit somebody in basically the knee, you'll stay right next to them. And we actually end up seeing in this video, so I don't know why I'm bothering with this. But the point is that people think that he's pretty easy to keep out. And, his damaging SPD, the Fierce one, doesn't really put him in range for much, well, unless you're in the corner. Like this, right? You got to swim up a few times or do this up. You don't really get the best options. The Juice is the less damaging one. Really? Yeah. Which gives you the cross up / safe jump / not cross up. You have a lot of good options on that. So that's really what t.hawks are about. T.hawks are basically about two things. One, he has some good normals. He has normals like this that are good hitbox, but that have enough recovery that they're basically like throwing fireballs in case somebody jumps at you. You get punished. But great hitboxes on these things. That's what this dude is about. It's about kind of being patient a lot of the time. And if you ever get this, wow, really? If you ever get this, it's time to go nuts. That's really what this guy is. So okay, let's go over to Hawk versus. Let's go to Cammy first. Shimulin Cammy, who is definitely one of the. I don't know if he's still #1 Cammy. I think he was, if I recall correctly. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But very high-ranked Cammy online. And this is not a good match. She has normals that happen to deal with his pretty well, which is a little unusual. Like I said, he has good normals. The problem is that he doesn't have very good mobility to be in range to use them. Cammy, her mix-ups work pretty well against a lot of the cast. t.hawk is definitely no exception. But, yeah, awesome little fuzzy guard setup. Yeah, you didn't know about that? I didn't know about that either until I saw this. This is why I watch videos all the time, is to see things like that. 'Cause that I didn't know. But that was pretty sick. Instant overhead. Alright, so, he's starting things off here. Can he get it? Nope. First round doesn't go that well. This first round is kind of how the matchup goes in a lot of people's minds. He wasn't really able to get a footsie game started because hers was solid at the start, and then she gets a knockdown and pretty much goes to town. That's how people think that this goes, but it doesn't really have to go like that. And we're gonna see this Hawk player who is Leslie 0796. I don't know. Yeah, I really like that escape, right? The EX. All he's gonna get there is a stand around us. So smart escape from the Cammy player. And here you see, you know, Cammy trying to abuse the fact that he doesn't have very good walk speed. She definitely has stronger walk speed. That was supposed to be Ultra for sure, rather than EXDP. Got a time for mix-ups now. Nope. Hawk has a pretty good Dragon Punch. That EX is actually pretty solid. His Fierce is actually already also pretty solid, but it's weird. It's not that invincible earlier on. It actually gets a better hitbox on it later. So it's more of like an early anti-air Dragon Punch than a Wake Up. Alright, so this is what he's been playing for the whole time. Alright, follow up with the EX. And doing a good job of trying to stand there. Well, not there. EX, you know, people try to react to the Condor Spire a lot. EX is actually pretty fast, and so he manages to get in there. Gets the sweep this time. And definitely a big mistake. That's almost... Oh, that's right, I forgot about this. Gets the knockdown into the corner. He can try to get things going again. Nice blocking by the Hawk, and he backs off. Now it's her turn to come. And approaching a T.hawk is not that easy. This is something that he can definitely do. Nice, yeah, the crouching fierce to trade. He can definitely play this very tanky defensive game of using his high life and his good normals to be annoying. And you know, Cammy happens to get a spiral arrow or cannon drill, whatever it's called nowadays, to get a way in. But for the most part, it's not that easy against a T.hawk who's just kind of picking a spot on screen and, you know, using his good normals. Not that easy to get in. So let's see him against a Dalsum. This, people tend to think on first blush, feels like a domination for Dalsum against T.hawk. That's often what people think about it. It's actually not the case, and I want to show this because you can see Hawk played in a little bit of a different way. I don't think that it's a blow-up. In fact, I think it's basically an even matchup. Most characters can't really counterpoke against Sim, but oddly enough, T.hawk is one of the characters who can kind of do it. And when he gets a knockdown, he can, you know, deal a lot of damage. So the reason he goes for the strong SPD there rather than the jab is that against Sim and a couple of characters, you actually get some really good mix-ups out of it. You saw the empty jump into low there. We'll see a couple other ones later on. So there you saw, you know, earlier you saw the neutral jump roundhouse, which has a great hitbox on it. It's just that it doesn't really come up in most matchups, but against Sim, it really does. That, you know, jump down strong. He's got a lot of good stuff. But Sim is doing a good job of zoning him out, and this is a patient matchup. Nice stuff by Sim. He's just, you know, trying to find a way in. He knows he has a ton of life. There's no urgency. 45 seconds is forever. It's really not that big a deal. He's really trying to find that spot that I was trying to find with that EX dive. It's not easy to find, but there is a spot, and I think he does find it ultimately, where you can force the Sim player or whoever to just block it, and then he lands there, almost like HD Remix Hawk. In fact, even a little bit better than HD Hawk, because you're right there. First round goes to Dalsum. You can see he starts off in exactly the same way. It's not like how people expect. People think, oh, he's like Geef. He's just gonna have to run in there, go crazy, go nuts, and he doesn't have anything to deal with Sim at far range. You know, Sim is clearly gonna force him to do things, but that's not really the case, as you can already see. So let's see the other mix-up. All right, there's a cross-up. He knows he can go crazy a little bit sometimes because, again, he has so much life. Even though Sim has super, if he were to get supered now, it wouldn't be that big a deal. The video quality is bad, really?
It's the frame rate is dropping really low.
Weird, man. It looks fine for us.
Yeah, I know. Alright, let me try again. Is it fine now? Is it good for people? Keep going. Anyway.
I don't know. Is it better? Like, let us know if it's better. Now that we had it paused for just a little bit. I don't know. But now that Sim has used Ultra 1, his ability to force T.hawk to do things is definitely nerfed. Trying to save the super for when he knows it's going to kill. There's that down strong in the air. That thing will blow up a lot of Sim anti-airs, even a lot of Sim air-to-airs. It's very frustrating. So Sim feels the need, because he understands that, 30 seconds is... T.hawk is fine with waiting that long, and he feels he's going to get at least one counter poke in there during that period of time, which is a likely assumption. So he tries to go in there, does the Sim, and it does not work out. So T.hawk can actually force Sim to play an offensive game. It's a very rare situation for Dalsum. Very similar situation. There you go. There's that counter poke situation. He has such good air-to-air normals if he can just only find a way to use them. Alright, gets thrown. Sim can set up something. Just gets the Sand Fierce. T.hawk looking to block the other way just in case there's a teleport. Again, he has so much life that eating that is not that big a deal. Finally, he found that spot. Goes for the strong again. Boom. Solid, right? See, that time he whiffed on purpose and went for the grab after. So nice. I love that. Okay, so hopefully the video quality wasn't that bad towards the end of that. I don't know, but in any case, that's a matchup that even some players think that Hawk wins. So it's, things don't always go as you might expect. And yeah, people are mentioning in the chat, why don't you show him against the Blanca? Okay, that's not a good matchup. And I'm not trying to claim that every character has good matchups against every other character. That's not the case at all. This is a game that has a very wide arrangement of good matchups and bad matchups. But here's T.hawk, and I think he has an even or maybe good matchup against a Dalsum. He can beat even Cammy, who I think is one of his worst matchups. Not quite Blanca level, but it's definitely a blow up, and yet you could see he had it in that case as well. Let's go to another one before we take a break, because it's just going to be pretty quick. Let's go to El Fuerte. Yeah, against John Choi. So I used to kind of agree. I used to think that El Fuerte was not a good character until only one person convinced me otherwise, and that person is who you're seeing now. It's e.ryu, fighting out of Utah. Here he is against Zoner Extraordinaire, John Choi. Even though John doesn't play the game all the time, this man still really understands zoning and mix-ups. I mean, the mind game thing is something that he'll never lose. So for Fuerte, being a mix-up character, actually, I just realized that we didn't really go through El Fuerte's weaknesses at the start. So let's wait for the round end, I guess, because I think it's coming up pretty soon. Yeah, there it is. And we're gonna get over to El Fuerte. Yeah, I mean, obviously there were good Fuerte players before e.ryu. I remember TKD being really good in, where is he? In Vanilla Street Fighter 4, and there are some around others around the country too. e.ryu is not by himself, but he was the first time that I saw somebody play in the 2 out of 3 double elimination style of tournament and do really well. We saw TKD and a couple other El Fuertes in Japan do pretty well back when things, or over in Japan where things are 1 out of 1 and single elimination. They did well sometimes, but and I thought, well, okay, he's a mix-up character, fine. That'll happen sometimes, but e.ryu has taken him to a range of being a more consistent character. So what are El Fuerte's problems? His wake-up is terrible. He has this backdash, which is one of the shortest ones in frames, but also terrible in range, and can get option selected like crazy. He has the ability to run into stuff, and absorb a couple hits when doing it, but a smart player who's keeping track of his options can see that and blow that up too. So you just you see people just run away oftentimes. He also is, like I said, he's a mix-up character, and he doesn't tend to have things that are very damaging when his mix-ups pay off. So it can seem like, man, I got to hit the opponent a billion times. I mean, look at this. That's 130 damage. That's terrible. This, oh, that's right, I turned him on block. For being as risky as it can be, some characters get Ultra to punish this. It's only 100 damage. This, 150. Those are not terribly high marks. So he has to be played in a way where you try to minimize the craziness of your situation, but nevertheless are trying to control the opponent. And I think the e.ryu has a really strong ability to do that. He doesn't really have good footsie normals. He basically is a character that forces the opponent to do things either on their wake up or by coming to him. So in some matchups he can run away pretty well. If he's playing against Geef, he can actually run away pretty well. There are a couple other matchups where he does that as well. But a lot of the time, this is where he wants to be played. This, after situations like this, that kind of thing. So let's go over to e.ryu and see what he can do to make up for the fact that his character does not have great footsie normals, doesn't have a very good wake up, and is a mix-up heavy character that doesn't really have all that much damage when he guesses right for the most part. There are some instances where he does. If he gets run stop fierce, then he does, but it's not that common. Alright, so first round taken by e.ryu. John Choi not afraid to take some risks against this character. Nice run out of the corner. So despite the fact that e.ryu is fighting without that many normals at mid-range, he has great mobility with his character that can allow him to get in and out. Not for free, certainly, but a little easier than some other characters can. So you see, going for a set of mix-ups here. And not terribly high damage in each of the cases, but guessing right a lot. All right, frame trap. I think that's going to be the round. All right, and there you see the issue. Once he's knocked down, you can definitely take advantage of that. e.ryu running towards at the start, saw there was nothing, and then stopped. That's so good. What a good opening gambit from this guy. Now he's got the knockdown. Goes for the slight punish. Oh. What happened?
I don't know.
Did it crash?
No, I don't think it crashed.
Oh. What? Is that just the video?
The video might be corrupted, actually.
Can you go forward at all?
Yeah, there we go.
Will it play?
Yeah, it plays forward. Okay, there we
go.
go.
How strange.
Yeah.
I don't know. So you see what e.ryu does to get around the fact that his character doesn't have good normals. He's just using the mobility a lot. And whereas other characters will be playing footsies with buttons, his is really more about picking spots on screen based on the run. And yeah, you can see a lot of that here. Gets the mix-up. It's basically one more to take it. There it is. So you see how he gets around a couple of the things that Forte has problems with. Nah, don't worry about it. Right, so the way that he gets around the fact that his character doesn't have great normals is by just using the mobility of the run. He's very smart in the way that he uses run. You can see at the start of the round, he ran forward just to see what Ryu was doing. If there was a fireball, he was going to press, I don't know whether he wants, splash or tostada. I don't know, but I guess probably tostada. Who knows? Anyway, he's being very smart with how he uses it. He has a lot of interesting setups. You actually, I don't think you got to see it because the video was corrupted at that period of time, but, during a tortilla, which you can make move to different areas, it has a little bit of invincibility in it, and it recovers pretty quickly. So if somebody tries to jump out of it, you can get an anti-air fierce. He can put himself in these situations where the mix-ups are not fully safe, but he minimizes the risk, and that's the thing that Forte players have been doing for a long time, and really goes to the benefit of their character. So there he was against one of the best zoners ever, a guy who has a great handle on mixing up and understanding the mind games that go along with the game, and he did well. He actually got third in that tournament. That was from Northwest Majors. He got third there. He got third at SoCal Regionals. He got top 12 or top 16, I forget, at EVO. I think it was top 12. So, if you're getting top 12 with a character, if you're getting top 3s with a character, I really don't think you can make an argument that the character is bad. Okay, so let's take another break. We'll be back with a few more character choices after these quick commercial messages. Hey, welcome back to Level 3 Focus. Check out this guy I have next. I was actually pretty surprised to hear that people thought that e.ryu was bad, but his name showed up more than a few times on the chat, which was strange to me because I don't want to say that I think he's one of the best characters in the game, but I do think he's pretty good. So okay, what do people think that this character lacks? Well, his life is low. He does not have a good life. What is it again?
I think he's
900 or something like that, or it's like 850, 900. I don't know. So it's one of the ones that's on the lower end of the scale. So that can be obviously an issue for him. He doesn't have the best footsie normals. He's got some good ones, but if you notice how e.ryu players play, there's a lot of this, and then occasionally looking for this. I guess the reason why I feel like I'm stumbling a little bit is just that I'm not really sure what the other issue is. I guess his stun is low too, but he has such good mix-ups and he has such high damage. I'm not even going to pretend like I can do like one of his big, damage combos because I definitely cannot. Let's see. Oh, that's right. It's different timing than I thought. But he's a character who, like Dan, will do a good 400 damage and a crazy amount of stun off this. And whereas Dan needs to be in your face with something like stand roundhouse or stand medium punch, for e.ryu it's just this, and that is such a for you to risk losing 400 life at this range. In my opinion, is pretty scary. He's got some good cross-up setups. He has some good fake cross-up setups. I don't know. I mean, I feel like he has a lot of stuff going for him. So let's go over to the video. Let's go. I guess I don't really have time to show one, so let's show him against the Bison. Actually, no. Let's go both. Just go Kami because it's like a minute long. It's super short. So I for the most part have wanted to pick matches that I thought were pretty close. Spoiler: this is definitely not close. I think it starts out kind of close, but the second round is just he just eats the Kami player alive. This is basically his wheelhouse right now, is playing the mix-ups up close. He has great counter hit games, so that means that his throw is good too, despite the fact that he doesn't have great range. Wow, that was just a terrible decision. And this is a character that you cannot make big mistakes against. That's another reason why I think that he can be pretty good, is that you have to play really, really solidly, like basically the whole time, especially if he has meter. Man, if he has 2 bars, this character is nothing to mess with. Ugh! God, that was a chunk of change. Set up in the corner. Don't get hit. You got hit. And now you're dead. So, okay, what was that? Like a single combo into like 1 or 2 resets that were single hits each? I mean, that's pretty serious. It's very fast, so that's why I was cool showing that. But let's go right into the second one. That's what you are worried about with this character, is if you're playing against him, don't screw up, because he, like somebody like a Makoto, is just gonna blow you up if you guess wrong once or twice. That can be the round. He is definitely a glass cannon. So here I have him in a very, very different matchup. This is a matchup that Bison, I think, wins. Bison has great footsies. He has the ability to blow up fireballs in some different ways. But one of the strengths of e.ryu as opposed to normal Ryu is that he has some really fast normals. He has, again, that very dangerous crouching medium kick, which is different than Ryu's. It's not quite the same, very low crouching hitbox. It's not quite as fast as startup, but it has extra hit and block stun to it, such that the fireball is always safe. And that's something that's really solid. So again, look at this. Come on. Into reset? Ridiculous. Bison now has to really try to battle his way out. And yeah, doesn't work out for him. The hop kick is okay. I mean, it's not an overhead, but it can set up. It can be a good frame trap, and he can cancel it into EX Tatsu for some reason, or Tatsu for some reason, for some good stuff. So look at the way that I think this is Naruo is playing. Naruo, who made top 8 with e.ryu at Shadowloo Showdown, something like that, top 12. I think it was top 8. There were actually 2 evil players in the top 12 or top 16, so pretty good stuff. Reset into the corner. There you go. I mean, that's that's what this guy's issue, or that's what this guy can do. And if you have that kind of power, and if it starts off at this range, if you have low health, I mean, that's probably good. It's probably a good thing that you have low health, because if this guy had 1100 health, I think that'd be ridiculous. Don't get hit, but you could see that this Bison player couldn't really do some of the things that he wanted to do against Ryu. Against the Ryu, Ryu can't do this safely because Bison can find a hole in it to do things like EX scissors or that kind of stuff, or even focus dash through into throw. It's not a possibility in the e.ryu matchup. So different character. I think that he has some strengths. Let's now go to Rose. Rose is a character who James really wanted me to include in the bottom 5 or whatever this set of characters is called. I wasn't so sure, but I can certainly understand why people would have her that low. Her name came up when I asked people about who they thought was in the bottom. And there are I think a couple of reasons why. One of her major liabilities is the fact that her wake up is not that great. She does have an excellent backdash. This is far and it's pretty fast. But when it comes to this kind of thing, I mean, it's slow. You can easily not just safe jump it. James just explained safe jumps. A safe meaty attack is something that you can throw out on the ground, and if the opponent doesn't wake up with a special move, they have to block it or get hit by it. But if they do a special move, you can block in time, because the opponent's special move starts up so slow, and that's exactly what this is like. So that's a big issue for her. She doesn't really have huge damage all at once, and the damage that she does tends to come from 1 and 2 frame links that are not very easy. But she does have, she also has this floaty jump that can be pretty easy to anti-air if you have a good anti-air normal, or great anti-air normal, or a good anti-air special. But she has a lot of stuff going for her too. She has some really strong footsie normals that can really help out. She has an excellent counter hit game that doesn't lead into great damage, but that can lead into good damage pretty consistently. She has an awesome throw range. I mean, look at that. That wasn't a Kara throw. That's just her throw range. It's right there, which is really good. It can allow her to play this excellent counter hit throw game up close. The footsies can allow her to play. The normals can allow her to play from a little farther away. Her fireballs are not that fantastic, but they're kind of different than a lot of other people's. The jab one starts up pretty quickly, but has big recovery. Exact opposite for the fierce, as you can see. So you get to mix up the opponent in the way that they deal with your fireballs. She can build meter a lot if the opponent wants to play a fireball war. She just has a bunch of stuff going for her, in my opinion. So let's go over to her matchup against Faye. This can be a good anti-air. Here we are. Okay, sweet. Okay. So the reason I picked this match is that I feel like Faye is a character who can really blow up her defense when she's knocked down. He has great mix-ups up close and the ability to get in. And I wanted to see how a good Rose player would deal with that. And this is actually e.ryu playing Rose. Very, very strong player, of course. Not just with her. He's got a few others in the bank. And yeah, there's that jump. It can be a little floaty. So she feels like she's caught in the corner. There's the combo to get out. You see the footsie normals in mid-range. That can really help out. And that's nice against Faye, because he's a character who's really accustomed to dominating that mid-range game. And he can't do that quite as well against Rose, because she just has some buttons that are solid. So Faye is now in there. Let's see how he deals with the Faye being up close. Trying to block wild. Luckily for him, that wasn't it. Ultra 2, if you remember it from Super, it's definitely not that anymore. It has been changed. It's no longer something that you can recover, if I recall correctly, not instantly, but like you're not hittable for that period of time, so it might as well be. You can get hit now, and it's more about allowing her to build pressure. And it's not just like a get out of jail card. It's about her building stuff and looking for things actively. So Faye really trying to get in, and again, there's that problem, that jump. So he finds himself caught in the corner. Safe EX Rekkas. And he's great at finding this range where that spiral can be made safe. It can be unsafe if you do it at poor ranges, but he's great at finding that spot. Great. Oh no. Go forward a little bit, I guess. It's so weird. Well, I guess that's fine. We fast forwarded it through the control in the corner, which is certainly a liability for her. So let's see what e.ryu can do to get away from that situation this time. Guess is right there. She can actually set up some really tricky cross-ups. I know she has some unblockables too. That can be annoying, definitely to deal with. So he's being more active in the mid-range, looking for spots. Yeah, he had a great spot on screen right there that he was controlling really well. And you can see what it's doing to this Faye player. He's definitely not as accustomed to this kind of control in mid-range coming from him, but that's something that Rose can do. Alright, so now she has to make a comeback. Nice backdash. Doesn't use an EX for the easy combo. Okay, so here it is. Mix-ups with Ultra 2. What can he get out of this? Well, I guess not all that much. I thought there was going to be more, I forgot, but oh well. She has full super now. Yeah, it becomes very dangerous. There you go. Nice hit confirm. That's actually pretty easy hit confirm, that spiral. Oftentimes hit confirming a special move into super in this game is not that easy, but for whatever reason, hers is, I guess, has a bigger window of cancelability than a lot of other characters do, and that's really nice for her. So, okay, who else was I going to show? Oh, Dudley. Let's go to Dudley real fast. Yeah? Okay, so Dudley is Dudley against RF, Sagat. Very, very strong Sagat player. One of the best. Against HJMXP Dudley. And this is, oh wait, hold on. Actually, let's stop this. I totally forgot to go into the character thing again. Let's talk very quickly about Dudley and what people don't think is good about him. So Dudley has, let's see, where the third check characters are. Dudley's major issues are in footsies. He does not have very good footsie buttons in this kind of the same range that we were just talking about that Rose is good at. He's not that good at. He has pretty much one or two moves. It's like this toward fierce and like occasionally that. Sometimes people fish for this, but it's not very common. It's pretty much fierce and toward fierce that are good. And while the hitboxes for those are actually pretty good and they can deal a lot of damage, especially on counter hit where they combo into stuff, they're not quite as comprehensive as a character like I just happened to run into Adon here. If Adon's doing stand roundhouse, I mean, this fierce is not really going to cut it unless I find a particular spot and timing. It's not that easy. He also, doesn't have very good wake up. His Dragon Punch is fast; it recovers quickly, but it has really bad hitbox. Basically, it's EX or nothing. If you really want to get out of a situation, you got to spend meter to do it. This is really his only way to make himself safe. It's almost like Rufus in that respect. He's got to have 3 bars if he wants to be safe about it. As far as other issues, he has obviously this good high or low game. You can link out of both of those into a lot of stuff, or just into this, or that into ducking into whatever. But the high-low in this game is not like it was in Third Strike. You can focus backdash out of that stuff. There are safe reversal attacks in this game. You can make safe with FADC. So his high-low mix-up doesn't translate quite as well. There's invincible backdash. Doesn't translate quite as well. But if he gets the hits on you, man, I mean, this is another one of those characters that blows you up. He has very high damage. He has very high stun. He has combos that can move you 2/3 across the stage. So he has the ability to get you into the corner. Once he's there, he can, your focus backdash and whatever doesn't really work quite as well. Especially if you don't have meter, he can be really, really scary to deal with. Okay, so let's go over to Sagat. RF Sagat. Oh, okay, we're already in there a little bit. That's fine. So in this match, I actually feel like Dudley does pretty well in this match, which is something I wanted to show that he has some good stuff. That jump roundhouse, great hitbox on it. It knocks the opponent down if they're in the air, and it's you know, it links very easily into ground attacks into very big damage. It's hard for some characters to deal with that. His ducking will get through fireballs, which is really nice. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So there's that damage, and then he can dash up there. So look at that. From way across the screen, he now has Sagat into the corner. And there's that excellent focus he has. Definitely one of the game's best. It's very fast. It goes far. It can lead into a ton of damage. It's very scary. Now there's a situation where, you know, Dudley and Sagat, two characters without great footsie normals, but Sagat definitely controls space better because of Tiger Shot and Stand Roundhouse. There he just goes for the chip, closes it out. Alright, so here we're back in. And again, Dudley doesn't really have the best options for anti-air. There you go, nice. He just moves around with short swing. Into the corner now. There it is. I mean, that was a very quick series. It was only 84, 85 seconds when he actually stunned the opponent. That's fast. It just took a couple of sequences for him to get his opponent all the way into the corner, very far down on life, and that's it. I mean, that, you know, how long was it when he started that whole series? It was at about 90 seconds. 15 seconds later, the opponent is in the corner and dead. That's the strength of Dudley in this game. You have to use his ability to get through stuff with things like ducking and push the opponent back with things like, yeah, you know, duck into the straight, or jump roundhouse, or you know, stand fierces, these kind of things. Buffer, stand roundhouse into stuff. Ooh, yeah, that was probably not what he meant to do right there. Wow, okay, I totally forgot that was in there. That's definitely not a great idea. So now he's got to try to get back into Sagat, who has this whole area behind him to go for. Gets thrown. What can Dudley get out of this? There's the short swing again. It's not the best of moves. It's certainly not what it was in Third Strike, but it can get you past Dragon Punches, as you saw, in a way that can still leave you up close. It can look for counter hit setups. He even has, you know, in my opinion, like quite a bit of stuff to deal with zoners. I don't feel like him versus Dalsum is that bad. I don't feel like him versus Guile is that bad. So he can definitely do things. I feel like he's only put in the bottom 5 for the most part because people think of how he was relative to Third Strike when this versus this was like the ender of worlds, and is not quite as solid nowadays. He has to be a little bit more active and interesting in how he does stuff. That it's only because of that people, I think, don't really think of him as being a better character. So all right, let's take one last break. I'm gonna go through one last little bit, and then we're gonna call it a night. Okay, welcome back to Level 3 Focus. My name is Ultra David. Thanks for joining us. We've been looking at characters who people tend to think are lower in the tiers in Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition version 2012, and trying to dispel the fact, or the idea that they're not viable, that they're not good, and that they're something that should be avoided, because I certainly think that that's not the case. I was just talking about Dudley. Let's go into the next one. A character who people tend to bring up a lot is a character who was really good in earlier versions of the game, and then just kind of dropped off. She got nerfed a little bit. Characters who other people like more, to put it like that, came in. I know there were people who were playing Chun who were really looking forward to some other characters, and then they came out. Chun-Li is probably in my pick for being among the lesser characters in the game, and there are a few reasons for that. One is that I just think that her wake up is terrible. It's this. I mean, that's really it. And this is an easily safe jumpable move. It's a move that will deal negligible damage to some jumping opponents. Let's see if I can time this. Well, I guess I have set, so it doesn't look negligible. Yeah, 50 damage. All right, that's not that great. That's what happens, and it's not focus out of a bowl. It's not good at all. All right, let's quit jumping. That bothers me. Her anti-air is not quite as good as it used to be. Her Her mix-ups are not that great. She has the ability to play mix-ups and go for frame traps and stuff, but it's not awesome. It's certainly not among the better in the cast at doing that. Where she is stronger is more in about this range. I mean, she has some normals that are pretty good. Stand strong, stand roundhouse. She has good walk speed too. Her anti-airs are more about being preemptive like this. This still is okay. It's not as quite what it was in Super, but it's still pretty good. She definitely has stuff to do in the mid-range, but that's often times where she really, really wants to stay. And while there are some matchups where it's better for her to be up close, that's really where she makes her hay. But that said, these moves do have holes in them. They're not perfect. This one, despite the fact that it looks like she has no hitbox down by the foot, for example, if I'm Zangief, I can walk up to her and do my crouching short, and I'll actually find a hole. So her hitbox kind of moves forward. Stand strong, is good, but is not perfect either. So you really have to be on your toes with which normal to throw out with her. It's basically more or less one of those. Not that one, but more or less one of these that you're pretty much using with her and forcing the opponent to do stuff with this and walking behind it, which is good, but it's just not as good as some other characters' options are. Let's go over to the video. So this is actually from a qualifier for SBO, and there you can see Momochi, who plays Cody in this video, against I think Vivi Chun-Li. Vivi. So this is a cool matchup for her because Cody is another character that actually has great normals, but his walk speed is awful compared to Chun-Li, so it's much harder for him to pick the spot on screen that he wants to stand at. But you can see the way that she's playing. It's this really kind of weird, frenetic mid-range game where she does not want to be up close, but in the mid-range, it can be difficult for her to get the opponent to do stuff. But let's see what he does about that. I mean, he can definitely pick the right buttons. Focus attack, backdash. Their backdash is great, no doubt about that. And she can play up close after those legs. Lots of situations like that. There you see EX Bird. Not punished that hard. Her focus attack to dash toward is definitely one of the best in the game. She can actually do level 1 focus, dash toward, and be safe after it, which is I think just her and Dictator, if I recall correctly, can do that. So that's the ability to play pressure with this character is something that people kind of underestimate. Nice blowing up the focus with very fast jabs. And she has his on-shoe, which will get over some characters' pokes, but more importantly will get over their projectiles. You can see that's exactly what he's looking for right here, is for Cody to throw projectiles. And he's doing a great job of not letting him do that stuff. Using that jump short, which has an excellent hitbox on it, to try to get in. Now he's got to deal with Cody up close, which is really not where Chun-Li wants to be. And yeah, look, loses all this life. You've got to do a better job of not being in there. And there, again, there's that focus dash back. Oh yeah, I guess I forgot to show crouching roundhouse is one of her most important tools. That is a great normal for sure. And he's really made good hay out of that focus backdash. So he's taken the fact that she doesn't have great anti-airs when she's grounded nowadays, and doesn't have charge, and used instead the fact that she has a great backdash, and the fact that her focus is a threat because it's quick, and she can be safe after it. All right, so Cody setting things up. Yep, like I said, he knew to block because he knew that she is safe. Yeah. So he's working on full super now, and when she has full super, she's definitely more dangerous. Her basic links and footsie normals can link into the super, which is really strong. All right, can he get big damage out of this? I mean, he can. Yes, nice. Sets up the great safe jump timing. She has a great mix-up as she jumps in with jump fierce to either another jump fierce or to a crouching short. That's what I was talking about. Linking of important buttons into super. Something that I don't think any other character even has, and she makes great use of it. You can see already low on life. Now that she has Ultra, it'd be very foolish for Cody to start throwing a lot of rocks. She can dash forward into Ultra from really far away and get it on reaction. But he's not going for that. He's just using her Fireball to try to force Cody into doing something. Nice, I love that. Whiffs the focus attack to keep it up. There's that mix-up again, but Cody guesses right. Momochi, very smart player. and smartly just blows up the focus. He was using that. He used the move that I identified as being kind of a weakness on wake up in a different way. It was not just a wake up attack for him. It was something that he could do. You know, here he is in about this range, and if Cody did anything other than backdash, in that case, that was going to work. So that's really smart use of the character. He had great control of the mid-range game. He had pressure with the character against Cody, who does not have great get-off-me moves. So, you know, really smart play. And, again, I think that although I would put Chun-Li down in the lower part of the cast, I don't think that she has that many actual bad matchups. I don't think that she really blows anybody up for the most part, but I don't think that she has that much in the way of bad matchups. Okay, so let's go into the last character that I want to show that I'm sure like everybody on the stream is totally predicting that I'm gonna show. Blanca. No, it's not. I mean, oh, dope. It's Hakan. Hakan still gets slept on a lot, and I don't understand why. I really don't. I feel like if you just take a glance at this character's options, that you won't think that, but. Hey, I don't know. So people often think, well, okay, Hakan doesn't really have good footsies. He basically is a gimmick character who has to be up close and making you guess with stuff, or else he's totally screwed. It's not really the case, actually. He actually has some really strong normals in the mid-range. Stand Fierce is something that's obvious. Toward Medium Kick is actually really good. Stand Medium Kick is actually really good. Toward Light Kick, again, very strong. Stand strong, crouching strong. He has these different normals. And although in any particular matchup he's not going to be using all of them, they are placed. Like look at these spots on screen. You know, they're basically placed at all of the spots on screen that you would like to control. So he has the option to do a lot of these different things with a lot of his normals. It's just not like super obvious at first blush how to do so. The other major issue that people identify is that he sucks when he is not oiled. And if you knock him down, then he sucks. And that's entirely the case. That is his bad position to be in. For him to wake up without oil is not good. I mean, even his EX grab does not have good range when he's not oiled. So he basically is kind of screwed. And that's why his ultras are very important. So once he gets ultra, you know, he actually has the biggest range grab ultra in the game in his Ultra 1. His Ultra 2 is instant on anybody who is in the ground at all. So if anybody is backdashing or jumping or even a lot of reversals, he'll blow all those up. But yeah, if he's not oiled, then he sucks. The thing is that it's easier for him to oil up than ever. So, you know, he has ways to do it. Right? I mean, he starts oiled nowadays. You know, he can just do this. And once he's oiled, I mean, he really is one of the best 5 characters in the game. He has options that nobody else has. You know, he can do a backdash into a normal in such a way that the invincibility frames of the backdash happen just before the normal. So he can actually wake up with this and blow up a lot of meaty attacks. He can do this into from focus as well. And one of those two options, either focus backdash normal cancel or regular backdash normal cancel, will beat just about everything in the game. The only thing that it won't beat is something crazy that's like a continuous armor breaking move like Dan, or roundhouse Dan kicks. Other than that, it pretty much owns up every single option in the game. A backdash will beat a throw, for example, and you can get this into, you know, well, whatever. I'm not gonna be able to get this now, but a link into a combo, which is really nice. He does have crazy mix-ups up close. He has some gimmicks into things like this, you know, hooligan setups in much the same way as Cammy has. But he has a lot more good stuff too. He has great safe jumps. He has unblockables. I don't know. He just has crazy pressure. He has the ability to play crazy pressure. You know, I'm not sure what people see in this character as being terrible, other than the fact that he's not oiled 100% of the time, which would probably be pretty broken. So okay, let's go over to the video. I think I have a couple Let's start out with him versus Sakura. Okay, cool. So this is Datui Hakan, and he's in a matchup where if Sakura gets a knockdown on him and he doesn't have oil, he is really screwed because she has great mix-ups up close. She has very fast normals. She has the ability to break focus, and it can be tough for her, for him to do much. Here you see some of the setups that I was talking about that you can't crouch normally. You have to do different things. So once he's oiled, I mean, he's really doing good stuff there. Okay, so she does get around it. The solution to that is just to whiff crouching normal on your wake up. So here's another thing that's really good that nobody else in the game has. Let's wait for her to die, I guess, which I think is going to be. There you see those strong footsie normals that he's bringing out. Oh, okay, whatever. Now you're dead for sure. Okay, so pause. He doesn't get hit by unblockables. You can't unblockable him when he's oiled. That was a setup that I don't know if that was unblockable or if it was just a really tricky cross up. It probably was. But he doesn't have to deal with that because he can just do focus dash cancel into any button to get out of that situation entirely. It's not something that he has to worry about when he's oiled. Again, if he doesn't have oil, I mean, I guess, okay, whatever. Ultra 2 blows up all safe jumps, or all cross-ups as well. But, you know, if he doesn't have that, sure, he's in a bad state. But otherwise, he has great options against it. And you could see as she was jumping in towards the end, he had another, you know, anti-air. You know, let's see, let's just do this. Oh, hold on. Yeah, there you go. So he has the ability to own up every jump attack that does not have 2 hits by doing this focus attack dash cancel business. And you could see Sakura jump in a couple times, and he did that and blew her up. And although he doesn't get anything out of the crouching shorts other than just chaining crouching shorts, if he wants to, he can, you know, turn a crouching short into a frame trap setup into stand strong, or you know, keep it going if he thinks the opponent is going to jump, or if he thinks the opponent is going to jump, he's going to do this, or if he thinks that you're going to stay on the ground, you know, he's going to do this instead. So he has this whole series of mix-up after that. It's not smart to jump into a Hakan who has oil. So let's go to the video again. Okay. What? So he starts oiled, as you can see, which is great for him. He has this excellent backdash. Oh, there you see the so he can cancel his focus, like I've been saying, into a dash in a way that nobody else can. There, he basically has parries when he has no oil. That's extremely fast. It goes basically full screen. He has so many of these uncrouchable setups that even though Sakura has seen them already, he keeps thinking that it's not going to come up. Yeah, again, so that was just a backdash normal cancel into the toward jab, which again blew up that cross-up setup. So okay, this is the bad look for him. Is to be in the corner against a character like Sakura, but you know, slide FADC, he's got good stuff like that. I think that's actually a free Ultra 1, but he didn't get it there. That's fine. He has the ability to run away in a way that a lot of other characters don't really have. He doesn't want to throw out, he doesn't want to oil up because he's worried about EX Sakura Otoshi, but he can, you know, he can run away in a weird sort of way. Alright, you're done. Dead. So we saw a lot of good stuff from Hakan there, right? We saw sequences where he was using the footsie normals well. We saw sequences where he was running away. We saw sequences where he was eating up Sakura's offense in a way that turned into his own offense. The problem was when he got caught into the corner, but you know, slide, FADC, got him out of there. That was really about it. So let's go to the last video that we have. This is Hakan being played by Infiltration. This is actually against Snafu from Montreal. This happened during Evo. This was part of a money match, And as you can see at the start of the round, this is a tough one for Sim because there's not much to dissuade Hakan from starting off every round with just dashing toward with the focus. Now he's caught in the corner. Look at this jab pressure. Look at that pressure. What are you going to do? I don't know. And keep in mind that each time he's doing that, he's not just pressing jab. He's either doing backdash cancel into jab to make himself invincible for a brief period of time, or he's doing focus into jab to make himself absorb normals that Dhalsim would throw out. So it's a very, very frustrating pressure for Sim up close. He's going to take this opportunity to oil up. Snafu makes a little bit of a mistake in trying to play a regular zoning game, which kind of plays into Hakan's hands. You don't want to really zone him in the same way as you do lots of other characters. By the way, he has more health when he has oil on. So, okay, don't do that, because as you can see, he just will focus attack, dash cancel through it, or just normal cancel through it. Taking the opportunity to oil up. Yep. This is such a frustrating thing for Sim. Wow. Alright. So that sucks for Dhalsim. That's pretty rough. There's another game that you can play. It basically goes exactly the same way, so there's no sense in showing it.
Did he focus cancel his slide and then dash forward?
Yes, he focus canceled out of his slide and then dashed toward. That is definitely something that Hakans do. And there's lots of fun little mix-ups after that. If, you know, right, like that. If I think the opponent is going to jump, I have my stand jab, which will link into stand strong, which links into toward short and then into slide. Or I can just do it into crouching jab. Or I can just do this instead. Or if I have Ultra 2, I can do Ultra 2 if I think he's going to jump. It's a really bad mix-up to get involved in, and something that it can be hard to stay away from. Okay, so I think that's all the characters that I want to show. People brought up a lot of other characters that make like no sense to me. Like people mentioned Dhalsim. I saw a Yun in there. Yeah, well, okay. Yang is another character that people tend to think should be, or sometimes think should be one of those characters. And I really, really don't think that's the case. Yes, he's not as good as he was in Arcade Edition. He was nerfed in some important ways, but he was so good in that previous game that I think he fell from being top 2 to being middle of the pack. He still has really strong options up close. He still has a good mid-range game. He still has Dragon Punch FADC on Wake Up. He still has a lot of good stuff. He's got damage. Okay, not as much, but he still has that stuff. So I think that's kind of ridiculous. People mention Jury of all characters. Jury, I don't know. She's free top 20, if not top 15. I mean, I've heard people argue that they think that she's secretly top 10. So I think that's crazy. People mention Blanca. I feel Blanca is super underrated too. Now, I was one of the people who thought that Blanca was one of the lower tier characters in previous versions of this game. I frankly always slept on Blanca, but that's not the case anymore. Now that he has knockdown up ball, now that he has combos out of overhead, now that people have figured out things like his unblockables, he has a lot of good stuff going for him, I think, nowadays. So I would definitely not put him among that set of characters at all. Some people want to say Guy. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I just really don't see that. His problem area is that he doesn't have a great wake up game, but you know it's not one of the worst in the game. It's certainly better than some other characters. He has, however, really, really strong up close pressure. He has great damage. He has a deceptively strong mid range game with that's funny that I have him here. With normals like this that are secretly good and this that are secretly good. And that's right, and a far range this that are all good, and up close, of course, whatever. You know what he can do up close. He can really ruin you. I don't think that a character like that deserves mention for being one of the lower characters in the game. Okay, so I think that's about it. Basically, the point is that the game does have a low tier, but that low tier is, in my opinion, the most competitive low tier in any Street Fighter game ever. Low tiers in previous games have been ass. There have been some cases where it's not the case. I feel like a low tier in Super Turbo can compete, but that game has some characters at the top that ruin some of the low tier characters in ways that tend not really to happen in this game. I feel like it's probably its biggest competitor for that or hyper fighting. Probably its two biggest competitors for most balanced, but yeah, I think that this one takes it. There are characters that have more bad matchups than not, but that still have winning matchups. Every character in this game has winning matchups, and many of them have matchups that they win that are important. Even the top tiers have bad matchups. Nobody is free of bad matchups in this game, and when you put those two together, you turn into a game that is not really so much about counter picks anymore. There are some people who still play counter picks, but for the most part, it's not really the case. In fact, if you look at the top 16 of tournaments like Evo and Shadowless Showdown, the ones that have a ton of really, really high level competition, almost all the people in those top 16 and even top 32 main an individual character or have a backup on the side. I think really the only person who isn't like that is the guy who won Evo in Infiltration. But I don't think that if you say Infiltration, you only have to play Akuma from now on. I don't think that he would be too upset about that. So it's a game that affords you the ability to choose, I think, just about whoever you want to play. And I think that that's awesome. So, okay. Thanks a lot for joining us for First Attack and then Level 3 Focus tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night, as per always, at 8 p.m. with whatever we're going to call the Tuesday show tomorrow. We'll, I'm sure, tweet about what we're going to do for a topic. Before then, please tune in at 8 p.m. Pacific time, as always. Thanks a lot, and we will see you then.